Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your number one weekly gaming podcast, episode 41, Your Best Gaming Moments. With me, George, and as always joined by Tom, decade of gaming moments to my decade of painting moments. How's it going?
I'm very well, mate, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm very well. Before let's give the new listeners, and welcome to you.
Welcome new listeners.
Through the medium of Podchaser. Welcome on board. And just to give you a quick rundown, we normally start the show with what you've been playing. Then we drift silently into the news.
In the news this week, we've got a little bit of Switch news. We've got some Mass Effect news as well.
Oh, possible Mass Effect news.
Mass Effect.
Then the feature this week is going to be discussing yours and ours best gaming moments.
Yeah.
Then we're going to have a look at some listener reviews, where we look at the listeners' reviews of some games, old, new, any console.
Anything, yeah.
We're not bothered. Even if you wanted to review the Sega Menacer, you could do that.
Yeah, so if you're listening and you're a collector of retro or modern gaming, please drop us a line, direct messages on Instagram or Twitter, or email us at questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com.
And then when all that's said and done, the big man, the mystical, mythological Stingray arrives. He pops his boot and we have a look at the latest gaming releases.
Yeah, and we sometimes pick a VHS out as well, don't we?
We do. And then at the end of the show, we ask each other what we're hoping to play. But before I get round to asking Tom the immortal words that unlock the show, you better hold that wheel for a little while, Odders. We've got some housekeeping to do, Tom. Tom?
We have.
Turn on the Hoover, grab some dusters. Mumsy wants some housekeeping done.
Yeah, we just want to say a massive thank you after driving the message of please can you rate and review us on Podchaser.
Yes.
And you did in your droves, and we thank you very much for that.
Humbled, and that's drawn people.
Where did that take us to in the charts?
It took us to the number one gaming podcast and the number two highest recommended show for this month on Podchaser.
That is amazing news. We're so chuffed with that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It just goes to show what a bit of rallying the spirit of Major Tom could really do.
The Unglorious Bar Stewards did their absolute best.
Thank you.
They won medals. They won awards. They went over into enemy territory, liking and sharing like you would not believe. Now, we're going to ask for something a little bit different in the call to arms this week, Tom.
We'll get to that, won't we? Yeah.
We will. So let's just one more time say to everyone listening, welcome, if you're new.
Thank you if you're old.
Thank you if you're old. And thank you so much for the reviews on Podchaser. If you want to leave us another one, knock yourself out. If you want to go have a little flick through those reviews and like a couple of them, that would also be awesome. But enough of that self-indulgent nonsense. Odd cat. Morph up. Grip that wheel. What you been playing?
This week I've been playing. I've finally gotten around to doing some more Link's Awakening on the Switch. I'm on the final dungeon, but I can't work out whether this final dungeon is a dungeon. It's basically the giant egg on the mountain.
Spoilers for a 4-year-old game.
Yep, spoilers galore. I've gone up there, played all the instruments, that does a song, and then the egg cracks and I've gone inside and I can't work out whether this is going to be a straight to a big boss battle.
Does this describe your evening routine on completion of the podcast? Mumsy, make me an egg. You play her all these different instruments and she cracks an egg for you. And
yeah, it's actually a game about my life.
Dips some soldiers in it and then feeds them to you, making sure you not to spill any yolk on your beard.
Definitely. Yeah, a lot of Link's Awakening this week. Really trying to... I must shamefully admit, I've used some YouTube videos on it. Those last two dungeons are really solid. Well, the last two before the egg.
Insert bell noise here behind the paywall.
I know. For a man who's finished Sekiro, he wheels out dirty YouTube videos of help me finish this game.
For a top-down Zelda with 2 buttons.
Shameful.
2 buttons.
I often wonder as well how people really... Because I've said on the show before, I played the original on the Game Boy. And I really don't know how people manage to do some of the... so there's walls where they've got like those little bomb cracks in where you can set a bomb and open the passageway to another room. That's the one. How the hell do you see those on a Game Boy? I must have missed no end.
Well, based on last week's episode, Tom, you got the little worm light, you got the magnifier going on.
Well, yeah.
You got it strapped
true.
on life support. You might even have it in the Super
Hooked
Game
up
Boy.
to the car battery. Mum and Dad wondering why the car's not striking up. Yeah, so Link's Awakening. Had some friends round. We played a lot of multiplayer games, Smash Brothers. We'd not had chance to try the new character yet from Fire Emblem put into Smash Bros.
Did one of them bring his night vision headset round?
He didn't. No. Brought 4 GameCube controllers for Smash, and that was good fun.
How do they plug in the Switch?
So like an adapter goes into a USB, and then it's got 4 like sockets for GameCube.
Way to know that you haven't made a decent controller for the last 3 consoles that you've made, that you need to bring out an adapter that plugs in the Switch.
Oh, mate,
so you
no,
can
it's
plug
just
in
for the
that
true Smash fans, you see. You play with a GameCube controller.
You'd think that there's true Smash fans would want an N64 controller.
No, it was the N64 one was a bit of a tester.
Oh,
Melee on the GameCube is where it was at.
So they've not really improved that game. So on the one on the Wii was terrible.
No, I think the one on the Wii was quite good, but I think Melee was seen as like quite a big, probably the pinnacle of the balancing of the actual beat 'em up side of it is seen as really good. So a quick rundown of what else played. Played some Street Fighter 5, Mario Tennis, bit of FIFA. What else we do? A bit of Call of Duty.
So to make sure you got something to talk about on this week's episode, you got the bigger boys round to play all the games so you could sit and talk about them on the show.
Absolutely, you know me very well.
What
I'm
else
sure
did you play?
I'm forgetting something. Oh, I downloaded a demo of Ukulele, the 2D one. Not the 3D adventure based on the Rare titles.
Wasn't it some sort of play on words joke about like Bumble's Revenge or something? Ukulele in the Scrungle's lair.
I'll tell you what, I can't remember the full title, so that says kind of how much I enjoyed it. It's very much like a Donkey Kong Returns style 2D platformer.
Okay.
And it's nice. It looks very nice. It's well animated. I've not really had, with it being a demo, I've not had much chance to take in the soundtrack, which is done by David Wise, who did a lot of the Donkey Kong work, and the other ukulele game, who's usually very, very good. I listen to some of his soundtracks on YouTube occasionally.
You note down on your research, is he from Rare originally or what?
I'm not sure. I think he's a composer of various things. I think he's just someone they bring in to... Well, obviously, Retro Studios did Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and stuff on the Wii U, and then re-released on the Switch, and he worked on that, which are one of my favourite gaming soundtracks, which we discussed in a few episodes back, didn't we?
Oh, they'll have to go back and listen to the show.
Yeah, check that out on the backlog. Favourite gaming soundtracks
to the show.
Yeah, that'll do me. I think I've talked enough about what I've played. I'm going to ask you what you've been playing.
Ah, okay. So, what had you? Oh, Tom, the man who finishes games. Yakuza 3, done.
Cracking on with those.
Mm-hmm.
I did look at that Yakuza collection. I was like, because I'm desperate for a new game, and I just
Well, that would be one of the biggest wastes of your money you've ever had. I
You
don't
reckon?
think you'd like it.
No. Okay. You're usually pretty strong with your recommendations.
Well, a lot of listeners have picked it up off the back of my recommendations, but I just don't think you'd like it. Some of the games, they're a bit trapped on PS2 in their game design.
Okay, yeah.
And I know what you're like. If it's not cutting edge, if it's not neon in your face, if it's not, Captain Price's beard in 4K, you're not interested.
Bit of a modern gaming snob, aren't I?
I know. And once you get down in the bunker and you've had a few Japanese whiskies, I can't see you sitting through a 10-minute cutscene.
Do they drink Japanese whiskey in it?
Of course they do.
Classy.
In fact, that remastered collection's all fine and well, but the Yakuza 6 one, collector's edition, comes with a glass, some whiskey stones, and some coasters.
For real?
Straight up.
Brilliant.
So maybe it is a game you'd like.
Yeah.
Because you get to drink all the different drinks. Anyway, Yakuza 3 done. I started Yakuza 4. Kingdom Hearts 2. Well over halfway through that. Oh, what else have we been playing? Oh, a little bit more Persona 4. And 2064 Read Only Memories. Been playing it on the PS4.
2064 read-only memories.
Being on the white edge of gaming, Tom. It's a game from like 2017. It's like a point-and-click adventure that came to PS4 and Vita.
Yeah.
And it was also one of the PSN games to download, I think it was last year. One of the last Vita ones to come out. Quite an intriguing little game.
Oh, I saw a little bit of a fact that a game called, is it Papaton 2? Is coming to the PS4, and that was originally was that on the Vita?
It was on the PSP.
On the PSP. Is it a good game? It's got a high rating, Metacritic. Got a high score.
It's a very good game.
Cool.
Stingray's going to have to throw a game out the back of the boot now because you've took its cheap pop away from it.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And then other than that, I think that's probably all I've played. It's not been a great week for gaming. I've been in front of the green screen in the bunker.
Slaving
away with James. Although, as I said to you, the script this week looks like a 10-pack of wafer thin ham, so there's not a lot of substance here. But I think that's that, Tom. I think it's time for the news. We've scoured the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, do you want this one, Tom?
Yeah, sure. Voodoo. Switch Doctor conjures up a Sony remote play. That's pretty interesting.
Very interesting news.
Sony's doing some research into PlayStation 4's popular remote play feature, potentially teasing some tantalising new ways to play. As part of a survey shared on Reddit, the manufacturer asked whether respondents would be interested in streaming their games to other devices like the Nintendo Switch or Apple TV. It also asked whether users would be enticed by an offline version of remote play. I think that's online version of remote play, isn't it?
No, offline.
So you've got to be connected when you have remote play running.
So I think that they're saying that if you want to be able to game on a device other than your PlayStation 4, but not having to stream your PlayStation 4 on at home, i.e. maybe pull it down from the server.
I'm certain people will be interested in that. No word on the science behind any of that, though. In the questionnaire, the platform holder lists the possibility of playing previous generation games such as PS1 and PS2 via remote play. That'd be interesting. The most interesting of all is a reference to a smaller, portable, on-the-go DualShock, which would include a screen and allow you to play your games in a more convenient Switch style. Interesting. So,
traitorous dogs.
Well, they do like to copy Nintendo, don't they?
No.
Oh, look out.
Portable on-the-go DualShock with a screen included. They basically just described the Vita, haven't they?
Well, yeah.
Why not just get behind that? I'm very upset.
Oh. It's very dead. Upset. Bury it.
I tell you what, it's as dead as Overwatch.
Oh, push! Ric Flair in the room.
What do you reckon to that?
I think that'd be great if I could play some of my PS4 games on the Switch.
Well, you could probably trade.
Honestly,
you could trade your PS4 and it Finster games.
No, because if they can't get this offline thing working, like you say, if it has to be streamed from a PS4, I'd happily. It'd just be nice just to, if I wanted. I don't know. It gives me the option to take those Switch games on the go and the PS4 games. I don't know, just sit through in the bunker and.
Unbelievable.
You're watching your soap stories, and I'm battling through Sekiro a third time.
I'm watching Emmerdale while you're battling through Sekiro for barely the first time.
You helped me with the lore of the show.
Is that what? Because I watch Emmerdale.
It is, yeah.
Repeats in the 90s. So what we're going to take away from that? I thought Apple TV was an interesting. Obviously, it's got to.
For that.
No, why's that?
I just want them to stay away from the console and the gaming thing altogether.
All right. So if you had an Apple TV at home, that would be not a good way to stream it across.
I don't want them anywhere near.
It's an app.
Anything of mine.
Like on your phone. You know the PlayStation app on your phone?
No.
On your Apple phone?
I haven't got it actually.
You need that.
I know.
Get that.
I will.
I resist everything.
Oh,
talking of the robot voice. Yeah, well, my one's obviously better than yours, but the fans will have to hang on.
Might be the voice box then. Okay, we're spoiling too much there. Do you want to take this next bit of news?
It's not Christmas, nor a hill farm, but will we see a shepherd? EA is set to release 4 major games between now and March 2021, but will Mass Effect Trilogy get the remaster the internet and gamers everywhere demand? A Mass Effect Trilogy remaster might not be so out of the question. EA is clearly letting some of its biggest franchises take a back seat as we head into the next generation consoles. So if it wants to earn some goodwill back, the return of one of BioWare's greatest franchises is something we'd certainly appreciate. After all, the publisher has already stated it has exciting remasters of fan favourites in the works. Well, Tom, you never know. The stars might actually be
Battle
aligned.
for Middle-earth 2 would be whatever console that was on. I would just switch to that console.
Why?
To play that online against people again would be the best.
If you saw that again today, Mr. It has to be the best graphics, it has to be on the latest thing. If they just released it as it was,
that frame rate would be a struggle. Because as you pan over the map like you would on a PC with a mouse, like it'd run smooth. But when you did it on console, bit slow. A little bit slow, and it's
knowing you, you'd have made an excuse for it, like, oh well, that's how Sauron's eye moves, so it kind of just jags along as it does it.
Of course,
the fires
always
of Mordor, always making up some crazy lore.
In a little bit of added news to that, with EA talking about exciting things they got coming up, they recently said, or as of today, our minds. Are we going to call this bonus news? Go for it.
You're meant to do the clap.
You do the clap. You do a better clap than me.
Bonus news.
My hands were not built for manual labour. Well, the bit of bonus news, yeah.
Take the skin off your private areas so he has to moisturise every night.
EA have come out and said what they're working on for next generation is going to blow people's minds. That was it. Very, very short statement. They're just sort of...
Work experience boy got hold of EA's Twitter handle, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to blow minds.
Yeah.
Is that the best
He's seen a screenshot of...
What? FIFA 21?
Yeah, FIFA 22, let's call it.
Is that what it will be?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when the graphical leap will be. Next one will just be a cross-gen title. 22 will look like the real deal.
Okay, last bit of news. Do you want this, or shall I wheel it out?
I'll go for it.
What do you make?
Oh no, you better take this.
Stop.
You better take this.
Wait.
You take this one.
Wait. Would you play a remastered Mass Effect trilogy?
Absolutely.
What if they used the engine from Andromeda?
I've not played that, but I know it's pretty bad from what I hear. The facial animations look like, I don't know, melted clay.
You haven't played Mass Effect 1 and 2 in a while?
No.
Nor had many of the people who complained about Andromeda, I shouldn't think. It's pretty broken at times, Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, 2 raises the bar a lot. I've been looking at footage of that online.
Thing is, 1 knew what it was. It was like it was basically Knights of the Old Republic, but reskinned. Because they couldn't get the franchise because Uncle George wanted too much money. Not me, but
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, the mighty Lucas. If you think... For the audio podcast, Tom's doing his best George Lucas head wobble.
If you haven't seen Deep Fake George Lucas, go check it out.
You haven't lived, have you?
You haven't lived. It's very funny.
They call him BB9 because every time he says BB8, they owe me another $1 million. That's so funny, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Deep Fake George Lucas. Yeah, on YouTube. Go there. Yeah, Mass Effect trilogy. 1's going to need some work, but I liked the more dice rolly style of it. I have to admit, since coming into Mass Effect 2, as I have, hot off the back of 1, I don't like it as a cover-based shooter.
Okay.
For me, that wasn't what Mass Effect was about. So when I got into 2 and it was very much cover-based shooter, I was disappointed.
You got to remember, like, probably they will have done market research around about the time, and people probably did like want 2 to go more down the route of the cover-based shooter. When you look at the games that were popular around that time,
I've just finished playing Gears. I wish
well,
Mass
yeah,
Effect
exactly.
was like that.
I think it was a popular gameplay trope at the time, so they probably focused on that more. You'll see that in 3 as well. It's ramped up even more.
Oh.
So, mate, it's still probably one of the best trilogies definitely in the last decade, easily.
What about the Accuser series?
I haven't played them, so I have to reserve judgment. But we might get to some of those in our gaming moments.
It ain't broke, but fix it anyway.
What's this all about?
Xbox One's getting another dashboard refresh. An Xbox Insider's update gives a preview of what's likely to be coming to all users. For the first time, being these features are only for alpha users of the Insider program, so it's unclear exactly when most of the changes will roll out to the wider audience. The most noticeable interface change comes to the main home screen, which replaces the twists with dedicated rows for Game Pass, Mixer, Xbox Community, and the Microsoft Store. Microsoft says, "What's happened to my teeth? I seem to have borrowed yours." Says you'll be able to customize the layout by adding or removing rows. This part of the update will be entering a full public release in February. The My Games and Apps UI will also be getting more content grouping settings for easily navigating, along with labels for trials and demos, and a cleaner settings menu. Welcome news. Constantly refining their product down to a very sharp point for the gamers to embrace them when the Xbox One Series X comes out.
Do you think sometimes interfering with user interfaces is a problem? Because we had this when we had the blades on the 360 and we used to love that, and then they changed it, and they didn't really feel like they changed it for the better.
Maybe not. I think if you were still using those blades in 2009,
they look very outdated.
It would look like you're using a PS2. You'd think, this is a bit pants.
It looked very old Windows, didn't it? Really.
And then it ended up looking very new Windows.
Yeah, it's true. Obviously, a lot of influence from those. A little bit of Xbox news there too. Oh no! Wait.
Tom's got his crayons out.
Bonus news. That's my hand. I'm gonna have to go.
Bonus news. It's been bonus news.
That's why you do it.
For 40 episodes, and you decide to do bonus, which is 2 syllables, which makes no sense, and then news, which is 1 syllable.
Don't you worry about that. That's why you're in charge.
You're actually in charge.
Am I?
Yes.
Oh, like legally, so if it all goes wrong, I'm left like buried and sent to prison.
Yeah, I've remortgaged your house 3 times to bankroll this show.
The race stance of the unofficial controller.
That's exactly it. Yeah, everyone's got 3 mortgages now.
Console Crossing. What's this about, you may ask? Animal Crossing Switch console revealed. It's coming March 13th for $299 or pounds. It's a pretty cool looking console with like an ocean coloured theme with matching Joy-Cons, and also they're going to release a Switch carry case as well. That's going to be sold separately. But yeah, another iteration of a different Switch colour.
Bonus news: PlayStation Man Bag coming out next week.
Is there really? Like an Indiana Jones satchel, that'd be pretty good.
I'm sure there's already one of those out.
There must be.
Bonus news.
No, there's a big market for people who collect consoles, isn't there?
Bonus news: Xbox hat coming out next week. What colour is this console? Is it a Switch Lite? This new?
No, it's dock and everything. Looks really, really nice.
Are you getting it?
No, I ain't got a spare $300. And if I did, I wouldn't be buying another Switch.
If you bought it in pounds, you might save a bit more money. So they're 279, aren't they? Or is this going to be 300 whackers?
The research pointed to $299, so I think it may translate to 280 over here. See how the market is. My shares in.
You play the market.
I do play the market a little bit. Got to get those numbers up.
Do you think who in the village plays the market? Lionel?
Well, of course he does.
Does Matthew McConaughey live on Hollywood Boulevard?
What, in the village?
Yeah.
Our Hollywood Boulevard?
Yeah, next to Ross Kemp and Lionel Blair.
He can move in if he wants.
Oh, is he too edgy? He's too big,
cool
isn't he?
For us, isn't he?
He's a bit too cool. Finstergamer thinks that's... was it Finstergamer? Is that who thought?
Yeah, he thought he looked a bit like... that's his image of Stingray.
But as I've said about
all
the
right,
Ray...
All right.
He is... Wow. You really did your next level method acting to become Matthew McConaughey. Why don't you become him?
That's why they pay me the big money.
That wasn't very good.
I don't know who that was, so you don't know.
Why don't you be Matthew McConaughey for the rest of the show?
Mate,
no,
not happening. No.
Anyway, that's a page.
I'll stick to me Lincoln
Tom,
Shaw droll.
Question: did we miss anything? Do you, dear listener, have an opinion or take on the news we missed? Tom, if we missed the shadow drop of the Xbox One Series X, everyone's lining up for the midline
boys,
launch.
this that console. I reckon you're secretly going to reveal rip-off Superman style that PlayStation shirt you got, and reveal the Mario T-shirt, which I'm wearing. I need to
the
ones the mic, don't I? I keep getting away from the mic. Sorry, listeners. I do apologise. I get very relaxed.
I'm back
the podcast.
scuttling money in the desperate attempt to make sure I can buy both of those consoles come Christmas time.
So we're well covered on the podcast. I can just stick with my Switch.
Yeah.
Bonus. Nearly wiped my mic out.
We're not a hokey cokey podcast for nothing, Tom.
No. Bonus news. Apparently, Nintendo said they're not releasing any new Switch models this year.
Bonus news.
Yes. That's the end of the news. Anyway, we better move on.
They've said that. No new consoles. No Pro Switch. Nothing.
No, I know. Yeah. It's, I've heard them say that before.
That's going to be a melted glob of plastic by the end of the year if they're going to try and run that latest Doom on it and all that latest stuff.
They're going to have something big to combat.
2D Mario game?
Not against...
I'll do an isometric Mario game.
What do you...
We'll make it some Mario's
let's have a
big.
Let's have a little wager.
Oh, crikey.
What do you think will be their big Christmas game to combat PS5, Xbox Series X? What are they going to wheel out?
Zelda Gasper the Wild 2.
That would be my guess as well. Or
Bet you 50p.
I'll bet you 50p it's Mario Kart 9.
Yeah, I was playing that the other day with James, the work experience boy.
8, yeah.
Yeah. So... I had a Joy-Con upside down, I was pressing the buttons and, you know, what's that game become?
You're not playing with the best controller there, though, are you, to experience that? It's still an amazing game.
What's that game become?
In what way? It's just Mario Kart. It's no different.
It is. There's gliders. You're flying.
Oh, they're going to have to... You can't just keep having them going round a track. As in, like, you just normal racetrack.
Oh, okay. So in your head, Formula 1 has to be hover cars, laser guns, machine guns.
That's Formula 1. It's like a simulation of an official thing.
No, I'm not talking
the
game.
Thing.
I'm talking the actual sport. You want them to have, like... machine guns and things on the cars, do you? So,
damn right.
You got to come back next year with something better, boys. You got to come back with something better.
I'd argue that is an established thing, and people don't want it to change. Where I think Mario Kart would
be an established thing of people just don't want it to change.
They don't. No, they would. Like, it would become stale. People like innovation in video games. Look how well VAR goes down in football at the minute. That's a tiny... Well, it's not tiny. It's something that's changed and it's massive uproar. I think...
What's VAR?
VAR.
What's that?
It's like a video... I think it stands for Video Assisted Referee. But yeah, it can obviously alter decisions. And it's changed the sport a bit.
We're lost in the weeds.
We are. We're gibbering, but anyway... Mario Kart. I hope you play that with a different controller and enjoy it. Because playing it on a Joy-Con is like a...
Well, since PCSO...
Like this podcast, mediocre way of playing.
Since PCSO Ross Kemp answered the phone to James's mummy, you're not allowed within a 200-metre radius, which has made recording this show very difficult.
Okay.
You've got a restraining order put on you against young James. Those rough, abrasive hands of yours can damage a small man's skin. Now, did we miss anything? Do you have an opinion or take on the news we missed? If so, Tom, how do the collected masses interact with us to let us know that they were queued, waiting for the shadow drop of the Xbox One Series X?
You can direct messages on Twitter or Instagram, as many of you do, or reach us via email at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com.
We've certainly welcomed the new listeners in with some deep lore.
The lore of where the show is set, in the factual, fictional village of Farmerton.
I love how, was it the aftermath where you're like in the fictional village, and everything up until that point you were like, oh, don't break the fourth wall, whatever you do. Don't break the fourth wall.
And then I'm just like, boom, gone.
I'll do what I want. Well, they've come here for the feature, the crown jewel in what we call the show. And this one certainly It's a belter. This is your best gaming moments feature. So in the last decade, games have really come of age as the hobby.
Just checking how many pages there are.
Like I say, Tom, it's like a 10-pack of wafer thin ham when you've already ate 5 of them, so don't be hanging around here for too much. So we thought there was no better time. Let's start again. It's the crown jewel of the show, this is. So in the last decade, games have really come of age as the hobby, and we thought there was no better time to discuss our best gaming moments and yours of the last decade, be it an awesome experience in a game, be it visually or audio, or that epic team experience with buddies or complete randoms that ended up being something special. Maybe it was acquiring that console of your youth you so fondly remembered, or maybe even a game that's escaped your grubby mitts for years now. We talk ours while discussing yours. Tom, if they wanted to get involved in future episodes and get some awesome stuff in on the show,
Yeah,
we probably need to keep the noise down because Mums is probably trying to watch Crime Watch.
we do.
Yeah. How would they get in touch and get in on the feature? And don't forget, dear listener, if your comment's awesome enough, you could win a prize from Adam the Artist.
Do we need to do a monthly prize soon?
Don't worry, Adam the Artist has built an elaborate timepiece on the wall. It's like a Swiss clock where people come out depending on the time of day. And when it comes out and rings the bell, ding, he messages me via carrier pigeon. And
I'm glad you've got that sorted. I don't have time for those sort of...
Oh, you should see it. You know in Grantham, the market town of Grantham
Yes.
in Lincolnshire,
Yes.
people need to Google this because this is something that not many people, they'll think this is
Are you on about the thing in the Morrison
I'm
Centre?
talking about the thing in the Morrison Centre. They'll think I've been too near the creosote again, Tom. And I might take James the Work Experience Boy down to see this because he's a bit bored as soon as he can't come down the bunker when you're around. In there is a clock, and there's a lion. I don't know what it's made out of. It's probably polystyrene, but its tail rings a bell, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't an apple drop down?
Something like that.
Something
yeah,
to
it's
do with Isaac
Newton
Newton.
based, yeah.
I don't know why it's a lion. I wonder if there's images on Google. They're going to have to search it, aren't they? But this is a true thing. For our international audience, Morrison Centre, Grantham, Lincolnshire, UK, lion clock. Search, click images.
Not too much there to type in.
Boom. They've got a rewind 10-second
They
thing.
have.
Skip back, have a listen. Tom, tell me one of your... I think Mumsy's having a Tupperware party in the next door.
Is she?
Yeah. So we're in the abandoned BBC. We're in our abandoned nuclear bunker, and we're in the BBC recording suite doing the podcast. I think Mum's having a Tupperware party.
Is that what she told us last time? But it was actually one run by Dirty Doris, and it was one of those
New character.
Annabelle Summers parties.
Oh, played it on the legal line. Playing it clean.
Smooth,
Well,
mate.
all I saw was a load of receptacles to keep batteries in, and they weren't Game Boys. So I assume they were Tupperwares, maybe some sort of battery storage devices.
Why they got glowing lights on and stuff though? Who knows? Yep.
That's what I saw in the evidence bag PCSO Ross Kemp took out of your bedroom.
Well, we better talk about... So the reason we came about with this idea of the feature, we obviously had our best games of the decade.
We've been asleep. We woke up. You had a dream. Like
Yeah.
Doc Brown it in his head.
I just
on the
felt like
sink.
there's still a lot that happened in the last decade in gaming. That's why we wanted to hear from you, the listeners, to see whether you had any favourite sort of memories from the past 10 years of gaming. It could have been anything, as we've said.
Pull one out the top of your head, Tom. What's one of your best gaming moments?
I'm going to take one from Arkham Knight, which I played on the Xbox One. It was the final part of the trilogy, not including the other sort of spin-off Arkham game, which was good. It's not quite as good as the main trilogy. And this sees you...
It was a bit like Transformers 2.
Yeah. So this sees you as Batman one last time, and everything's raised up to 10. You've got the Batmobile, city's bigger, more enemies, bringing in lots of new villains. you've got the sort of Arkham Knight character who is revealed to be a certain member of Batman's past. I'll save that one just in case, but well, we're going to go into spoilers a little bit here. So if you play an Arkham Knight, just switch off for a few seconds. So there's a point in the game, Joker dies in Arkham City, second game. He's dead, proper dead. Start the third game, he's incinerated, and it's goodbye Joker, he's gone for good. Which is a bold move for a game. It's like, considering the comics and the films, it's bold to kill him off. But you find out he's like infected certain people, and he's also infected Batman.
Yes,
and it gets
so
into
good.
his head. But one of the best bits in the game comes about when you play as the Joker, and you're like, it's very bizarre. Like you see that chaotic side to him, but because this is happening through Scarecrow's poison toxin,
That's some of the best bits in that
it's
trilogy.
to do with like the Joker's actual fear is revealed to be not being relevant, to being forgotten, and the way this thing ends, playing as the Joker, you then control Batman. You beat him into this cell, which goes off, and he's just like being carried away, and that's his great fear come true, that he will be forgotten. He's just put to Batman has put him out his mind, and then it cuts to Batman. He looks at Scarecrow, he's like, I'm not afraid. He's like, he's conquered that actual fear toxin, which is really cool. I think that's awesome as a Batman fan. And he then grabs Scarecrow and injects him with his own medicine, and that's sort of towards the end of the game.
That's possibly one of the most eloquent, most beautiful things you've ever said on this show.
It's good.
That was good. I like that. That whole that episode's pretty good because that part 3A, if you include the rather bizarre Christmas in Gotham, as I call it.
Yeah.
The Gotham
A good
pantomime.
thing about that game is the boss battles were really well done. I thought the fight against Deathstroke was excellent, like a very equal for Batman.
But going back
in
to
terms of-
going back to Arkham Knight,
Yes.
you know that game starts with you actually holding down the incinerator to burn the Joker.
It does, yeah.
Leaving you in no
yeah.
uncertain terms that he's dead. So when you see him,
Yeah, because
Which one is it?
even then going into the incinerator, you're like, he's going to come alive in a minute. He's going to come alive in a minute, but
and then you watch the burn further and further. It's
Yeah.
like, no, he's not coming back from that.
Yeah.
Which one is it where he does that song and dance routine?
The Joker.
Mm.
I think it may be Night. There's a lot, obviously. You play a lot of games over the course of 10 years, and this is about the moments that you really remember. So forgive us if some of it is a little hazy and not 100% accurate, but we will try to be. And I think.
Do you want to do another one, and then we'll do a listener memory?
Yeah, I'll chuck this one out there. We've talked about it at the top of the show.
Okay.
I'll bring it out again. Mass Effect 3. The Alliance. We're going to go spoilers. Spoilers again. Oh no. Honestly. Do you want me to... I can dumb it down a bit for you, because
Dumb it right down.
it's not going to sound as good.
We'll pick another one. You're banned from speaking about Mass Effect on this show.
Cover your ears. Honestly, cover your ears. So, listeners, he's covering his ears. Mass Effect 3, the fleet arrives.
You've got such a resonating, drony voice that it's actually resonating through the bone structure of my forearms and elbows, and I'm hearing it anyway. Now I know what a listener feels like.
Thanks.
Maybe you should cover your ears and let me know what a listener sounds like from my point of view.
I'll do that. Mass Effect 3, the fleet arrives. You've assembled everybody you can in the galaxy.
Yeah.
In number 3. Everyone, you know the relays. How basically hyperspeed or whatever you want to call it in different genres of.
I'm going to regret
Sci-fi
this
films.
episode, so I'm taking a mortal wound here in this.
But
But you know, like the immortal Major Tom, maybe I'll
You've
live
seen
on.
this scene in Rise of the Skywalker. Spoilers for that as well.
Oh, God.
A
A couple of episodes ago, I did say you were the guy outside the cinema saying, guess what Emperor Palpatine does.
But it's done so much better in Mass Effect 3. You do, because you feel so much more for all these ships that are appearing, and you're just like, that is everyone assembled to fight a greater threat, and it's what you'd want to see in a sci-fi epic. We were talking earlier about Independence Day before the show went on, weren't we? And I was ranting about how I didn't like 2 because it wasn't what I wanted, of like this big human kind standing against alien invasion. It was just a bit
I don't quite know why you were wanting, like, you know, a Martin Scorsese epic when, you know, the first Independence Day was written on the back of a cigarette packet.
So I'm going to avoid any more spoilers about the Mass Effect 3. It's basically Fleet arriving to launch one final battle against the Reapers.
Okay.
That was another one of mine. Shall we hear from a listener?
Yes. Let me wield in the immortal, the longest serving, most loyalist of fans, as we dub him here. The Barber Who Games got in touch on Insta to say, honestly, there are so many possible answers to this question. Considering I started hardcore collecting in 2009, my biggest accomplishment was getting my hands on a complete copy of Panzer Dragoon Saga or my complete Lunar Series collection. Gaming wise, it was probably discovering Persona 4 Golden, my fave game of all time, for the first time. Honestly, my favourite gaming moment was probably joining Instagram gaming community last year and discovering all the others who share the hobby. I could go on for hours, to be honest. Well, thank you, the Barber Who Games. He's got Panzer Dragoon Saga, Tom. He's a proper big boy.
Yeah, it's nice he's mentioned playing his favourite game, which is Persona 4 Golden.
Have you played that?
No, I haven't.
Have you played Persona 4?
No. Is it about... I could do with knowing where to jump in on the Persona series. Which
I think that you could jump on with any of them, and 4... Well, you haven't got any device.
I've always heard the best things about 5, so...
Oh, yeah, you've got a device you can play. You could play 5.
Yeah.
It's on the PS4.
Absolutely. Yeah, nice. He's obviously...
Why don't you see if you can pick that up? And then you could do a lovely evil layer on that 400-hour game.
Yeah, I know. It's long, isn't it? Yeah, nice to hear about his collections there. Panzer Dragoon Saga. It's quite a rare one, that is, isn't it? You're the collector.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big bucks.
But one thing I'd say about that is, if you didn't play it at the time, if you picked it up now for anything other than investment, I think you'd be a little bit perplexed by it.
Yeah.
Because it's not the on-rail shooter that the others are.
Oh, really?
It's a free roaming, kind of free fighting. It's kind of turn-based fighting, I believe, from memory. It's a strange concoction, but many call it an awesome bit of kit. But you never played it. You played any of the Panzer Dragoons?
I think probably one that was re-released on the Xbox original.
No, Panzer Dragoon Auto came out on the
That's the one.
Xbox original, didn't it?
Nice that he mentions the gaming community on Instagram. I think that's great that we're obviously trying to become a big part of that. With your help, we have made small strides into that, and hopefully bigger ones in this 2020.
Well, when they're retrospectively listening to this episode in 2030, they'll be like, how they were wrong.
How the mighty have fallen.
how the media...
Me scandal in the Sun newspaper.
Well, that's going to happen any week, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
PCSO Ross Kemp left his evidence book out and the Wagon and Horses. Well,
I thought he'd been promoted to DCI after his work.
Oh, maybe. And I called it the Wagon and Horses. Since it's been rebuilt, it's now a wine bar.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. The Grapes.
The Grapes. The Grapes Wine Bar. Who runs that?
Ooh, I don't know. Some sort of highbrow kind of guy. You're the guy for the law. Okay. New character
on the spot.
Yeah, I don't know what you'd call him.
Derek Guerrero.
Derek Guerrero. Adam the artist, get your notepad out.
Latin friend of the family.
Wouldn't he be more Italian? Wouldn't he be called like Javier? Or Javier, as you would call him.
That's Spanish.
Or whatever. Tony for Tony.
No, he's like one of them fake Italians who is clearly as English as... I don't know. What's very English? English mustard.
Why don't we call him Tony D'Italy, the man from Italy?
Tony D'Italy, the man from Italy. I like it. Done. New listeners, if you hate this law, please tell us, because we never get much feedback on the law, so it's either people really hate it or they really love it.
Mumsy says she likes the law, but then again she likes your drawing that you did on the fridge.
Yeah, Mumsy just likes everything I do, so...
What's your next gaming moment of all time? Is it my turn to pick one out?
Are you going to pick one off there?
No, I'll make my own as I go.
Oh, okay. You better have one then.
Of the last decade?
Yeah.
Or just of all time? What do you want?
Of the last decade, I think.
Okay. You don't want me to wheel out a Commodore VIC-20 memory?
No.
You don't want that?
No.
The listeners want that.
They'll get it one day.
Or the ever-promised games of our lives.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think of the last decade... Shenmue 3? The excitement.
Announced?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, it's happening.
Yeah.
And I pulled
It's a fair
myself
one,
out of the retro scene and jumped straight back deep into modern console gaming.
What can I play that Shenmue 3 on PS4? I'm getting one
Get
of
it
them.
now.
Yeah.
And then what? Then it came.
I know. I can't believe. I actually, towards those closing weeks, and we mentioned it on the podcast, I just wasn't feeling the vibe for it. And I know others have played it and enjoyed it. I'm glad you have, but I don't know whether it's too little, too late.
It's not as good as Yakuza.
Yeah. I think there's just been too much since then.
They should have got
If that had come a
Yakuza
couple
team.
of years after 2, everyone would have been loving it.
They should have got that Yakuza team to make it.
Yeah.
I think that would have been good. Not forgetting, we did the research, Tom. It was them that did the legwork.
So Shenmue 3 reveal for you.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Nice.
good one.
Yeah.
We've got another one.
Have you?
Rediscovering the Yakuza series. That's
He's a
been
fan
special.
of the Japanese man.
Oh. I am a fan of the Japanese men. You're right. I'll take another loyal, dear listener.
Go for it.
Who we're going to have here? Finster Gamer. Achieving the impossible in gaming, be it through a platinum trophy or a record-broken accomplishment, and for me, 100% Red Dead 2 was my Everest. It was an absolute pleasure to tackle the gargantuan task in what I consider to be the game of the decade. Not only that, but the honour of reaching its summit is a pride that will take something special to beat. Red Dead 2 took everything from me, and I would happily give it all over again. He's a man who's finished Red Dead completely.
That is an epic undertaking. I mean, filling out the...
Quite rightly, his comments have won him a t-shirt that says the man who finishes games. That's who the Finster Gamer is.
It's in his name.
And because he's such a loyal fan of the show, we've actually woven him into the lore of Farmerton, and he's actually got the video game shop in the village.
Yeah, he does rentals, old school.
No, he
Take
don't,
your little
no,
He does?
he don't do rentals. Because there's someone else in the village who does rentals.
I thought they were like minor rivals, partners.
No, don't mention
Okay,
that.
let's not
The dust has settled and the
apple cart.
smoke has cleared from the rental riots that went on in 2005 between Finster Gamer, Nigel Netflix. Remember when... That's one for the ones that actually pay attention. Do you remember when you came up with that very strange random guy that come up with Netflix? Stingray's cousin or brother or something like that.
I've made that many characters in the lore.
Nigel Farquhar III made his money from coming up with Netflix. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah, I tried to forget. Should we do another?
Well, on the subject of Red Dead 2, I'm going to take Arthur's Last Ride.
How many episodes can you talk about this on? This will be 41.
I haven't, to be fair, I've not mentioned Red Dead 2 for
42
a while.
including the pilot.
Okay. One of the pinnacles in that game for me was your final sort of ride back to camp as Arthur. You've just...
After your holiday.
After your holiday. You've basically been and saved Abigail Marston, Sadie Adler, from the wretched FBI agent. And you're heading back to camp and people are going their separate ways, and Arthur sort of says, I've got to go and have a little chat, and you're like, yeah, it's on now.
Oh, this last ride.
Yeah. And then he leaves Abigail and Sadie to go their separate ways, and sort of I think at that point they think John Marston is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, Arthur's gonna go and basically finish any problems with the remaining members of the gang, mainly Micah, who he's not getting on with, and there's obviously the feud building there. Micah,
Peter. Potato.
So yeah, he gets on the horse, reaches in the saddlebag, pulls out his classic hat that he's had for all the game. If you've been playing like a true Arthur Morgan fanboy, and
Don't change your hat. Don't change your horse.
anyway, obviously puts on the hat, and then it pans out, and you go into the gameplay, and you ride into this really beautiful song. That's the way it is by Daniel Lanoy, I think is the pronunciation. But anyway,
Tip of your tongue. Listen
I
to
know,
it on the way.
I'm
into
not good
work.
with the names. Riding back to camp, and all the like voices echo in Arthur's head of various people you've met throughout the game. You get more depending on if you've done a lot more of the side missions, and his sort of transformation from not a bad character, but to what you class as a bad man. He's done some bad things, and obvious redemption that he goes through, depending on how you play the game. I just thought that was really well put together. Fired you up a little bit as well, just when you get back to the camp and you have that final showdown.
Oof, that was muddy, wasn't it?
Yeah, brutal. But we'll not touch on that because it's not the. It was the actual ride back that I thought was really poignant.
Well, let me bring in another loyal fan, Dubai Jim, the man who did
Dubai
more
Jim.
playground deals back in the day than Wayne Ray. He, in your own law, Dubai Jim, who is a real listener, did big off swapping a Game Gear for a Mega Drive, and made it big time in Dubai.
Oh,
Yes, that's right. Best gaming moments for the last decade, he says. For all the amazing gaming wow moments, nothing quite compares to the moment your firstborn picks up the controller and plays with you on PS4, in the same way my grandfather did with me on Atari VCS 2600. Although my brother-in-law introduced me to Borderlands 2, Fallout 3 and Skyrim at the start of the decade, changing me from a platformer stroke arcade gamer into someone who enjoys playing those much longer, bigger boy games. There's a true listener of the show, Tom.
yeah.
Talking about the bigger boys.
Some nice comments there about the sort of family involvement that can make those great gaming moments happen in life.
Should we do another loyal listener? Shall I do
Yeah,
that?
I'll take the next one.
No, I want the next.
Okay, all right, you have the next one.
No,
then.
you always you read out his nice words last time. I want to read out.
I'll
his
do
nice
Chronicles of a Game.
Words. That's a good comment. He's oh, go on then.
Chronicles of a Gamer says, to be honest, despite all the great games I've played, I would have to say getting the platinum in For Honor with my friends Marlon, Charlie, my nephew Jarrell, and my stepfather Danny was amazing. We had a great spring and summer with that game, and I even recorded some of the games and added them to YouTube. My stepfather wasn't the greatest, but he had an excellent moment where we all were dead in the final moments of the game and won a 2-on-1. Revived us all, and we won the match in a terrific story. See, that is a great example. I know I play a bit of online gaming. You don't so much. I think there are some good moments to be had like that on there, especially those like last-ditch attempts by someone who is a member of the group who's probably not quite as good as everyone else, and they pull off like that once in a lifetime, never to be repeated moment of glory. And
Wow.
That kind of leads me into one of
Wait, Chronicles a Gamer. He's trying his hand at the podcasting malarkey.
is he?
Get on his page, dig
Is it-
in, follow his links.
If he would like some voiceovers.
Maybe players 2 could become players 3. You mean that sort of stuff? When you tried
I
to
don't know
betray
who that
me
was.
and left.
I
That
don't
was
know who
you
that was.
on a pre-record. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I heard you. Anyway, Chronicles Gamer, go to his page on Insta, follow, like and share and do all that stuff, and go check his podcast out. It's for bigger boys though. There's going to be some swear words and bits and bobs
Okay.
in it, so some of the younger listeners don't go clicking on that. But
Yep.
to the more mature listener, you'll enjoy it. It's good stories about New York and games. So you can't really get much more rock and roll than that. He's going to be talking about Empire State Building, and we're talking about the lion that dings a bell with its tail at Grantham Shopping Centre.
Yeah.
And then we went and saw the Yankees, and then we went to see the Grantham Town FC play, or Farmerton. economies of scale, Tom. It's economies of scale. I'll do another listener. This one's an absolute belter. It's the console serial killer, another listener that's embedded himself deep in the lore of the show to the point where he, in one of my fever dreams, obviously kicked the creosote over and soaked my pillow. Retro Gamer Thomas. He's a console serial killer.
He is.
He eats his way through his collection, one very rare circuit board at a time. Tell you when we haven't said hello to for a while. Donna.
Hey. Hello, Donna.
Hello, Donna. Why don't they crack 2 tins of their special IPA that he's picked up? Don't spill it in the gaming room, though. That's PCSO Kemp will be up. He'll arrest you quick as you can skip a... I don't know what it is. Anyway, 2 memories spring to mind for me. He says, my first when I was featured in Retro Gamer magazine for my collection and my old game shed. I have so many great memories from that shed, from gaming tournaments to old friends just coming around for beers and gaming sessions till the sun comes up. I miss that a lot. Secondly, I would have to say finding this podcast. It's an absolutely fantastic community run by 2 awesome chaps. The podcast has been a big plus for me and my family in a very difficult year. Thanks George and Tom and James the Work Experience Boy for everything on a weekly basis.
I like him because he tells me and you how great I am. See how the T is capital there. Tom, he put me first before James, but second after you, so yeah. Well,
apparently in the evidence book you're always behind James.
Oh.
You leave it out there for me, I'll take it, I will.
What's
your next game? I shouldn't joke really, because we're not allowed to comment on things that are going through legal process, are we?
I think we're okay with that one.
What's pull it? Get your. I see what you've done. A little bit like one of your parties that you arrange outside of the village. You've put all these moments in a bag, and as people arrive, they pull out a name, see who it is, and then they partner off. What's this next article you're pulling out of the bag of dreams, Tom?
Nintendo's comeback. So the
don't say that the Wii U wasn't successful.
I was going to talk about the Wii U. It was just such a I'm sure we'll look back on it with hatred.
Do you look back on that, now that you're sort of, I think you were maybe married at the time, I can't remember, but you've left the bunker here, me on my own. Very lonely it is. Very, very lonely it is. Just me, Mumsy, and a wheelchair-bound Lord Ponsonbury.
Yes.
But the Wii U was a time when you'd first sort of cracked out on your own, with the good lady, the one that takes you away from me, and it's probably pre-marriage as well. So you were like carefree, money to burn, literally. You had the Wii U as your main gaming system.
You can't even say that, and people can't take me seriously as a gamer on here.
I did as well, because I got sucked into your fever dream.
Into the Nintendo hype. Maybe you'll come home if I buy this.
I did come home, and then immediately kicked the doors clean off, throw it in a bin. But anyway, you were happy. No screaming youngster in your ears.
Yeah.
You was carefree. Lazy Sundays, lazy Saturdays, lazy Fridays.
It was lazy everything, because
Mondays.
there's no games to play on it for about 6 months.
But in the same way I look at the Dreamcast, because it kind of maybe came at a time where I had money to burn, lots of great games came out on it that appealed to me as a person, and it was like a reasonably, nice memory for me. And it encapsulated a console in a time. Do you think the Wii U holds that sort of candle? You look back to your little first place, and you look back to the little setup you had.
No,
probably better than the setup that you've got now.
It was very good.
Oh,
I think it was not a very good console. It was built like a.
But you were allowed consoles in the bigger boys' room then, under the big tub.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Like I don't know. I just think it was 10 years out of date. It felt real cheap. We've been through all this anyway. But yeah, the Nintendo comeback, which is one of my gaming moments of the decade, kicked off with the Nintendo Switch reveal event. I remember staying up late to watch it. One of those classic sort of
What?
things we do as a gamer,
Please,
wanting to get the latest information.
nothing can be as bad as what they've just done. Because to me, well, that's what you.
Oh, the Wii U. Yeah,
to
I mean,
me, at the time, that was 2 back to back. I know the Wii was commercially
successful,
very
but
successful.
it was.
But from a gamer point of view,
I remember me
it
getting the
was-
Wii on launch, coming round yours and demoing it to you, and we were both pretty impressed. But then as it went on and it got more successful, and
yeah. But when you realised it was all smoke and mirrors, and you could actually play bowling just sat down by flicking your wrist a tiny little bit.
yeah, but they knew it was for gamers, so
and
they knew people
everybody,
would be lazy.
everybody, when you first got the Wii, everyone stood up with the bowling ball, did the little wiggle. Granny, she bought a Wii, she did the little wiggle. She was like, "Oh, let's lock them down the bowling alley, pull it all the way back."
All them times you go down the bowling
Pushed
alley.
it forward. My gran used to be in a 10-pin bowling league.
Really?
Yeah, I thought you might
Amazing.
remember that. She had grandmother seemingly, so I don't know. I don't know how you don't remember that. Probably, I don't know. Time in Vietnam.
Anyway, digressing.
The Wii was commercially a success, and everyone had one.
Yeah.
Seemingly, had about 4 of them apparently by the amount that it sold.
Yeah.
For us as gamers, not that real great. Really.
No, it wasn't.
Felt
It
like
was-
a well move away from the stuff that we'd loved. Then the Wii U came out that looked like it was actually a console, and then it wasn't.
It's funny now for 3 generations that they've chose to be behind on the graphical side of things. And resolution, you could argue as well. Like Wii was not HD.
Oh, they've made that USP now, haven't they? Fuzzy graphics.
I think the Wii suffered the most of all, not having HD. It's not nice. Going from your nice crisp Xbox 360 to putting the Wii on was ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah, not nice.
A man who won't play even a 5-day-old game. No, it's not the latest gear.
Yeah, so we better get back to this Nintendo Switch reveal event. I thought they nailed everything. They hyped it up. They showed a Mario game that was releasing within probably 6 months of that event, which was unheard of at the time.
Was this Odyssey?
Yeah, and showing that trailer, everyone was like, "Yeah, this is open world sandbox Mario again." What everyone wanted to see. Breath of the Wild trailer, Splatoon 2, the Arms boxing game was something new and interesting.
Wild Arms. Oh yeah.
It's pretty good. It's not a bad little game. Though. I think it probably hasn't sold as many. It's going to be one of those titles people
I'm
go,
not so keen.
that should have had a sequel. It's
I
like, it
wasn't
probably
so
shouldn't
keen.
have. It was good as a one-off, and it's a good laugh.
It's
With
a
the
tech
Joy-Cons.
demo.
It is a little bit, yeah. It's a polished tech demo, isn't it? Designed to show the sort of Joy-Cons and what how they can be.
It should have
utilised.
been. It should have been one of the extra games in 1, 2, 3 Switch.
I sometimes
whatever it was
wonder
called.
where it sold a bit more with the Punch-Out license behind it. Maybe.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
But yeah, that for me was a real standout.
Has it had a Punch Out?
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, they're missing out then, aren't
Yeah, there was one on the Wii. I think that was the last
they?
one.
They did a cow milking simulator, but never thought to
Yeah,
make a
I know.
Punch-Out game.
Yeah, bizarre. But yeah, Switch has gone from strength to strength. So
You know,
great to see
you
the
know
comeback.
in 1, 2 Switch, have you got that?
I did have that. I never played it.
So you never did the guess how many
No.
ice cubes in the glass?
No, I'm quite disappointed I traded that really because I got it for one family Christmas, but we ended up playing snipper clips.
Who wants to be a millionaire on PS2?
Yeah, probably. But yeah, that's one for me.
Snipper clips. You tried to tell me that was a good game. It's not,
a
is
good
it?
game. It's a really well made little indie game by a British company. You support that stuff.
Oh God, let me get behind it.
Yeah.
Have you still got it?
You'll be telling me next in 10 years.
Have
that
you
it's
still
the best
got it?
game ever made. Yes, because it's digitally downloaded.
That's the only reason.
How much you give me for this?
£2.
Do you want to take
it.
the last reader comment and then I'll do maybe 1 or 2 more moments before we close out?
Well, you can do one more because we've got some listener reviews,
Yeah.
and then I've got some news,
Okay.
bonus news after the listener reviews. Hold on. I'll keep
Get
your
the
power
sweats
for-
on. What's that
Well,
going to
you
be?
can get your sweats on, boy.
Is it my court case?
You've acknowledged it's real now, so everyone's now going to be like tapping on the Instagram, tapping on the Twitter. What's all this news about him? PTSA, Ross Kemp, James and Court. Well,
I don't think they will, but
He may not be on the show, or be doing it. You'll be phoning in for the next 10, 15
My last
years.
phone call.
Yeah, it's going to be a long stretch. That is. Comic Pictures 79, the immortal Adam the artist from the village. Yeah, you better sweat. He's the man who organises all the merch for the show. If you want to wear a T-shirt, the immortal, the man who finishes games slogan. Maybe Stingrays Sunset Neon Road one with the Stingrays Nissan Bluebird disappearing into the horizon on a 80s theme background, or any of the characters that we've mentioned. We didn't do the beg. I think we're going to do the beg. After this, we'll do the beg, because we got some new special character Tom's invented to wheel out. yes. Some of the show ended up on the cutting room floor today, listeners, but I think we should bring him in. Anyway, if you want a T-shirt of Major Tom, Debs Babs, Private Finster Gamer, Radbash Gaming, the Elite, Chemical Warrior, or maybe you even want a picture of PCSO Ross Kemp and Retro Gamer Thomas on the T-shirt, that can be arranged. You can also have them as prints, and would be very grateful for such things to happen. Anyway, on Instagram, he trades as Comic Pictures 79, and he says, I've played and enjoyed a lot of games. Many of them have been awesome. Far too many cool moments to list. Done every hard raid in Destiny with a great group of lads. Played loads of cool online stuff with my bro. Won my first solo PUBG. What was better than all of that was playing and completing the whole of Unravel 2 in co-op with Michelle Fincham. As much as I generally love playing good games, I can honestly say that playing this as a couple is one of the most funny and rewarding little games I've ever played, ever. And so inspired by this, Michelle Fincham comes back with, Unravel was a decent game. There's some difficult bits, but we smashed it eventually. Great fun. So a couple who listen to the show, commenting on the show, enjoying games. That's what it's all about, Tom.
It is.
Now, in a very self-indulgent way, you are going to take us to the bridge this week.
Yeah, I am.
What's your self-indulgent? This has almost been, in a way, this has almost been like, I don't know if you're old enough to remember. Do you remember This Is My, was it called This Is My Life?
Yeah, with, hey, you gone back and watched the ones on YouTube with Gary Glitter? Oof.
We'll see, like,
It's dodge. You just want to watch it. He's got this, like, woman sat next to him, and she says something, he, like, gives her, like, I think a tap on the leg or something. He's, like, giving it the no, like the shaking the head, dodgy bloke.
Well, when we wheel Lord Ponsonbury up with his judge's wig on into the village hall to sit the case of Tommy UK 73 versus James the Work Experience Boy, maybe you'll be tapping Mumsy on the leg and saying no.
You'll be on the #MeToo bandwagon.
I will. Well, do you remember I listened to this the other day as well? I've upped your meds this week because me and Dexter Fletcher are off to E3. Don't you worry about it. You just keep taking them meds. He's got form, PCSO Ross Kemp. He's got form. He has got form. What's your last gaming moment of the decade?
I have a few that I'm going to just quickly reel off.
By the way, these have been some of your absolute best.
So,
work.
Quick rundown. Emerging from the Cave, Breath of the Wild.
On that note,
yes.
Probably a decade ago. No, it wasn't.
You're on about Oblivion, aren't you?
That was almost as good as that. Breath of the Wild.
Was it?
Without Oblivion, Cave Emergence, there wouldn't have
True,
been
I'll give you
Breath
that.
of the
Okay,
Wild
I'll give
Cave
you that.
Emergence,
I'll give you
would
that.
there? No.
So Emerging from the Cave, Breath of the Wild, winner chicken dinner on PUBG.
Yeah.
Everyone is here reveal for Smash Ultimate, the reveal of that game. Defeating Ishin the Sword Saint, Sekiro. Getting a play of the game on Overwatch. And lastly for me, it's not a game I talk about much, which will refresh you, George.
Well, not too many spoilers, because this is one of my next games to dabble with.
Off My Chair Jester, the king sits there, Final Fantasy 15. This is very end game stuff. Noctis, the main character, along with his 4 friends. there's a bit of a time jump in the game. You go to confront the final boss.
Oh yeah.
This is what I don't want to spoil too much because you've not played it, and it's just a bit of an epic stare down, and there's quite an emotional moment between you and your 4 friends who they do a really good job of like simulating that close friendship, and the fact that these 3 friends of his are like his bodyguards also. They're like his royal guard, and they will always look after him, and it's also his responsibility to look after them. I think they portray that really well. The line I read out there off my chair just so the king sits there is quite an epic line when it's delivered, and you're like, yeah, I'm ready. And chucking that real-time combat into Final Fantasy really worked well.
Because I
think it's awesome. I can't wait to play Final Fantasy 7 with the same engine.
I've sort of like, is it me or is it not me?
No, it works.
Is it not me?
And, well, you quite like Devil May Cry 1, didn't you? I'm not going to say it's like that. It's not that much like that. But it's a lot more action-based, definitely, because obviously it's
Is it
not
like Kingdom
turn-based.
Hearts?
Yes, that's a good comparison.
Really?
I think so, yeah. Because I've played some Kingdom Hearts before.
What, you can flick the bad guys in the air and like whack them, whack up
it's
into
yeah,
the air?
it's a little bit it's very outlandish. Like, it's not ultra realistic. It's not like knights fighting with swords and shields and stuff. It's pretty out there. And yeah, that final confrontation in Final Fantasy 15 elevated it for me. That Xbox One journey, there was not a lot of standout stuff, but that was the one game I got it. Played it over Christmas and was like, yeah, I think that's...
How many hours is it? 40 hours?
Yeah, around that, 35, 40.
What age rating is it?
I'd say a 15. Are you thinking?
Yeah. Yeah,
I think...
Break character, get the kids on it.
Yeah, just double check on that age rating, but I think that's good. So yeah, I've had some awesome moments over the last decade. The PUBG winner chicken dinner was pretty awesome. I think that deserves a lot more praise than it gets. Fortnite has obviously clearly destroyed it. It's obviously a more adult game.
Has it destroyed it though? I guess it kind of
It's
has.
still got its players, but to me that was one of the first battle royale games.
PUBG's the bigger boys.
It is,
battle
yeah.
royale.
So yeah, that's me.
Super realistic, as you'd claim to tell me.
Super realistic, yeah. Guy with metal pan and shirt and tie going rampant with a welder's mask on.
It's this week we've got some listener reviews.
Yep.
So I'll pick 2 of the finest examples.
Okay.
But I'm going to get a bit controversial.
Okay.
The fans, since you throat chopped it like a worthless piece of slime, let me tell you one thing.
Okay, I'm listening.
Pushing its hand up out of the soil like an undead creature. Listener Stingray. I want to bring it back next week. Maybe just one time.
Like an Undertaker return at WrestleMania.
Yeah, like Mick Foley. You keep retiring it. It has a retirement party, and then it comes back.
Okay.
Listener Stingray. So listeners,
back next week.
Yeah.
Boom. The boot is back.
Yeah.
Hashtag boot is back.
Why not? Let's give it a hashtag. The boot is back. This has been possibly the hokeyest cokiest episode we've ever stitched together. So I believe it's time, only right, that the boot comes back and choke slams you through a car boot's worth of tat.
Oh, we're going to be doing it a little bit differently though, aren't we? Which we'll get into next week.
Oh, just to keep them on their toes. Just to keep you mildly interested in it for a week. Okay. Let's dive deep now. Here's a listener, the Chronicles a Gamer. He has written the most eloquent review you could possibly imagine. And it's for one. It's got on the show. Do you know why? Because I like this game. Zombies Ate My Neighbours on the Genesis.
AKA, you introduced me to this, didn't you?
The Mega Drive.
Yeah.
Now, Chronicles a Gamer, a very eloquent man, and he's done he might have fine review. Zeke and Julie, equipped with a variety of weapons and power-ups, go on a quest to rescue their neighbours from monsters, often seen in horror movies. Numerous elements and aspects of horror movies are referenced throughout the game. With this being the last Sega Genesis game Our cover, he says, it's good to go out with a bang. Zombies Ate My Neighbours is a phenomenal game, one that me and my sister Christy played all the time, being huge horror fans. This game had all types of creatures that go bump in the night. The game isn't easy, and I'll tell you, it is not, and can be quite challenging, but after a lot of practice, fighting, cursing and figuring out the right strategy, me and Christy actually beat the game. We both really loved this game a lot, and it was yet another game the Florida siblings had to beat together. The level and character design are absolutely stunning, the music is catchy, and the gameplay is a lot of fun. It's obviously more fun with a second player, but overall it's a great game, solo as well. I highly recommend this one to everyone. Now, you and me have played that co-op together.
Yeah, it's good fun.
It handed our backsides to us on a plate. We
Yeah, we
didn't pour
didn't
in
do
the
too
time
great,
that
did
this
we?
man
Yeah.
and his sister obviously did, but if you can pick that up either as, I think it's just Zombies on the SNES,
Is it?
but
Yeah.
the more hard-edged Sega Genesis Mega Drive players will know it as Zombies Ate My Neighbours. Or maybe it's the other way around. I can't remember. Either which way. It's also a Lucasfilm game from memory.
Ah.
Yeah. And someone else who messaged in, it's the mighty Harvey Retro. He has a review.
Excellent. Always pleased to hear from Harvey Retro. He's got a good opinion on things. I recently completed the last of his remastered on PS4. I'm not quite sure why I missed it first time round. I'm quite shocked as well. It's quite a, is it a horror game?
I don't
'Cause
know.
yeah,
Not
he's a
really.
big horror fan. He goes on to say, I missed it for the first time round. It was possibly the fact that the post-apocalyptic horror genre had become so oversaturated from The Walking Dead and Hollywood at the time that I had become a little sick of it. But it became available as a monthly free game on the PS Plus, and a few months back I thought, why not? As soon as I got started and played through that harrowing prologue, it was pretty awesome, isn't it? I knew this was going to be a masterpiece. Everything about the gameplay feels so fluid. Melee and shooting has a real satisfying weight behind it, and movement around the world has no clunky elements. I loved all the weapon upgrade and scavenging aspects, and the stealth mechanics work very well too. The game has a very cinematic narrative and is accompanied by an effective score and sound design. I particularly liked that the clickers sounded like the Grudge Coast. My only complaint was that the difficulty curve was all over the place. Yeah, I did find that. And I got so good at the stealth by the end I didn't need all the weapons, ammo and upgrades I'd acquired. Maybe I should have played on a difficulty higher than normal. But yeah, great game and can't wait for the second one now.
And Harvey Retro and his friend do an awesome movie podcast. Sometimes
It
they
is.
do games,
Yeah.
but I think they've recently done an episode about The Grudge as well.
Nice.
Yes. So if you like horror, and if you like films, and if you
Go
like
check him out.
games, and if you like probably one of the sexiest men on Instagram, Harvey Retro, you need to
It's
just
long hair.
It is. Get onto his YouTube channel, Enigmatic Productions, and check him out. Now, that's probably all the listener reviews we've got time for, but it's time for the big man, the real Stingray, the main man. Now, with all this retrospective twaddle tom that we've waffled on about today, and possibly every week we say it's the most self-indulgent episode ever, and I'm sure some of the new listeners who have wandered in off the fact of us being the number one gaming podcast out there are probably thinking, what the hell are these, what ramble are these two rambling on about? The big man, Stingray. Just for the new arrival, who is Stingray?
He is our saviour. He is the delivery man of new releases,
Yes,
VHSs,
yes,
and anything else he can lay his hands on.
okay.
He delivers them from the back boot of a Nissan Bluebird.
When you were talking about him before, you mentioned that Finster Gamer thought he looked like Matthew McConaughey, because last time I said he looked like Finchy out of The Office, and we came to the startling realisation: Stingray assumes the face of anyone that you think he is.
Yeah.
So my opinion of what Stingray looks like is different to yours. So when Adam the artist draws him, he just draws an oval on a piece of paper. But the magic of Stingray means I see Finchy from The Office, Finster Gamer sees Matthew McConaughey. You see him wearing the face of James the Work Experience Boy. And, you know, I don't know what Retro Gamer Thomas sees. Maybe he thinks that Stingray looks like PCSO Ross Kemp.
Maybe.
How very strange. He's a man of mystery, like smoke,
Like
Tom.
a chameleon.
He appears vapor-like through the floor, assembling as a corporeal being right in front of us.
He's here.
He's here. What's he been up to this week?
This week? Well, I heard, because it's the Super Bowl.
Oh.
He's been trying to knock out the old American football shirts.
Is that why he's popped the boots on? Shake, wattle and woll for the hardcore. And I look in the back and he's got every copy of Madden ever made.
Have you seen some of the shirts though? They're like a bit knockoff. One says the Dallas Cowpokes.
The Dallas Cowgirls.
Yeah, he needs to get the printer, improving those shirts a little bit. I think.
Where are the new releases?
Where are they? Let's go have a look.
Well, buried underneath all this NFL tat and Madden from the Game Boy to the PS4, it's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battlefriend All this week? These are the new release highlights for the week January 26th to February 2nd, 2020. Listeners, these are out on digital or physical, or will be by the time the podcast's in your feed, but could be. These could be, listeners, region dependent. Tom, are you going to take the first pick out of the boot?
Yeah, this would be my mummy pick.
Whoa, no messing about.
Journey to the Savage Planet. This kind of caught me unawares.
What formats is it on? You know the routine.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was actually looking forward to this one. It's available on PC, PS4 and Xbox One. It comes out on January the 28th. Welcome to the Pioneer Program. As the newest recruit of the Kindred Aerospace, the fourth best interstellar space exploration company. I think the comedy is quite strict, quite appropriate on this game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of how we describe our show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your job is to determine if the planet is viable for humans, but you may be short on equipment and experience, but you have to figure it out.
I think you need to take a little trip down all of the opticians.
I do.
I could be
struggling to read the script at the minute.
A single angle of this script, and I'm sure I could make good work of it. That's your mummy.
Yeah. It looks a bit like a poor man's No Man's Sky, doesn't it?
Yeah, with one planet and loads of fart jokes.
Yeah, that ruined that trailer for me. I was like, oh, this looks really good. Watch the trailer. I was like, yeah.
And you didn't read the planet out, but it's a play on the word arse.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's meant to be.
Yeah.
505 Games. Didn't they make that Naughty Bear game?
I don't know.
Was it on PS3 and Xbox?
You're the man who knows things. What we got next out of the boot?
You're the man who knows things. You probably worked on that game.
Probably.
Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition, PC4, Xbox and Switch. Kentucky Route Zero is a magical realist adventure game about a secret highway running through the caves beneath Kentucky and the mysterious folks who travel it.
Next up, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire on the PS4 and Xbox One, January 28th. Pursue a rogue god over land and sea in the sequel to the multi-award-winning RPG Pillars of Eternity. Captain your ship on a dangerous voyage of discovery across the vast unexplored region of the Deadfire.
Bookbound Brigade. Next up, PC, PS4 and Switch, January 30th. Bookbound Brigade is about beating the hell out of historical and literary characters you studied in school by leading a dream team of real and fictional heroes through a 2D side-scrolling platforming adventure.
That one sounds quite good.
The next one's my mummy. Shall I take that?
Yeah, go for it.
Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk is a coffee brewing and heart-to-heart talking simulator about listening to fantasy-inspired modern people's problems and helping them by serving up a warm drink or two.
Is this one you've just made up and put on the
No,
Sounds
no.
like an April Fool's
No,
joke.
no, not at all, no.
Coffee talk.
Coffee talk. Well, I say that's my mummy
Oh,
because
goodness.
there's another mummy
I
on
thought
the air.
that was
I think
all of
as-
them.
No, no, no.
Oh, no.
No.
I'm definitely not doing the third one down.
Oh, come on.
Not for broadcast. Up next, PC, January 30th. Take control of the national nightly news as a radical government comes to power. In this immersive high-pressure propaganda sim, you control what the people see and determine what's not for the broadcast.
Patapon 2. You rumoured it at the start of the show.
Did.
Patapon 2 remastered PS4. Stingray's not looking happy. I've never seen him make a Lambert disappear in such quick, sharp speed. I've never known. You better rent this out. You better make Patapon 2 your mummy. Papaton to
Papaton.
Get your guts off my papadom. You probably, no one apart from me remembers. Walkers probably could be termed to be not very PC these days. They made a crisp called the Poppadom, but the advert was an Indian Elvis singing "Get Your Guts Off My Poppadoms."
Oh.
They were like these small curry flavoured crisps in triangles. No, they were circles. They're a bit like a disco.
Okay.
We're going back to distant memory, like pre-1991 here. Check it out on YouTube if you're that way inclined. Patapon 2 Remastered, managed to get that out on PS4 January 30th. Patapon 2 returns to PlayStation with new enhancements taking full advantage of the PS4 and PS4 Pro. I can't. That's not really pushing those systems to the max, I'll tell you that. Good game though. Definitely one that's quite good on the handheld experience. Not quite sure it's going to probably work out just fine. Tom's afraid of bigger boy words and more than four.
Sisters Royal next, out on the PS4 and Switch, January 30th. 5 uniquely talented sisters are squabbling over which of them will marry the angel Yashin, enjoying the heroic strategies of all 5. Sparks flare around the man of all five sisters wish to claim, and it introduces a new vertical scrolling shooter game. Very good.
This is my mummy. You want to check this out? You've got a Switch. It's the Speaking Simulator. PC Switch January 30th. This is a regular game about a normal human. Now, me and James did the research.
This and the coffee game.
The coffee game's a visual novel game, right? It's proper
And
pretentious kind of game.
Speaking Simulator.
Is like the most bizarre thing you've ever seen. You've kind of
Okay.
like got like different buttons control different parts of his mouth and tongue. And I saw this bit as well where he kind of like walked up to someone to shake the hand and his arm was sort of shaking all over the place and he was trying to control it.
Oh.
And you were trying to make him speak by one controller was moving the mouth up and down and one controller was trying to control the tongue.
Ventriloquist Simulator.
A little bit like that, but obviously there was a huge amount of comedy in there. Go check it out. Terraforming Earth on the PC, January 30th. Guide 3 quirky robots through infinite obstacles as you restore life on Earth. This game creates unique situations every time you play, challenging your creative problem solving and planning skills to the max. You next? It's your turn.
Through the Darkest of Times, PC, January
Wait.
30th.
Let's do a VHS quickly. What are you pulling out?
Independence Day Resurgence.
You don't want the proper one. I mean, Ray's got proper VHSs. He you know, this could be like almost an ex-rental copy of Independence Day proper, not the sort of cam copy that you probably played the wheels off back in the day when you were still in diapers and rocking gel in your hair. How did Mumsy afford that much gel for that great big barnet of yours? Is that why we're eating blooming cheese singles?
It is.
Unbelievable.
And then I went through that late 90s phase of Brill Cream.
Stingray, probably. I wonder what.
He just got grill cream.
Grill
off the
cream.
front of or the gunge off the front of his grill of the Bluebird. Anyway, we've got next Through the Darkest of Times, PC, January 30th.
I just realised what that was.
Berlin 1933, Adolf Hitler is Chancellor. We all know the consequences of that. Unspeakable horrors and suffering would sweep across the world. Few would stand and fight. but the monstrosity that was the German Reich. But will you lead an underground resistance group through the darkest of times?
Made a mouthful of that, didn't you?
I did.
Were you thinking the fact that the burl cream that Mumsy bought for you from Stingray was actually industrial vats of gone off mayonnaise?
Probably.
That he had coloured in red and poured in a couple of bottles of that rather inflammatory non-brand aftershave he had managed to get from Jeff down the market.
Another new character.
I know, Jeff's always been there, just on the periphery. Remember he used to lift up the carpet and show Ray the videos?
Yeah.
He's always been there.
Okay.
But he wasn't at Farmington Market Square the night of the...
incident.
Yes, the crash.
Okay. What we got next?
I'll read both. Take us to the bridge, seeing as you forgot your glasses. Hero Land on the PS4, Switch, January 31st. You're invited to a magical theme park where anyone can be a hero, except for you. You just work there. Conjured from your 16-bit dreams by the legends of Japanese RPGs, this whimsical tale of princes and part-timers guarantees excitement that cannot be forgotten. All you have to do is grab your sword, reserve a quick pass, and depart for adventure. Next one. One for all your closest of friends, those hardcore hockey fans that you talked of earlier off air. Hockey Manager 2020 on the PC January 31st. I'm sure they're ripping their Steam passes in bits right now as they try to feverishly download this ASAP. Enjoy the state-of-the-art hockey management. In fact, they probably took the day off today.
Maybe.
Get this at launch. Or maybe last night they got midnight launch.
I don't think the local game shop does a midnight launch for that though.
Well, Steam must do. How does that work?
Yeah. How's a digital midnight launch work?
Well, we know it works on console. You preload it, and then midnight clicks over, and you get it on your machine.
Yeah, there's just none of the fun.
Well, there's a countdown on your menu bar.
Is there?
You can play this game tomorrow.
Oh.
You can play this game in 2 hours. You can play this game in the next 10 minutes. Boom.
I just don't see that as a part of the experience.
You know, you want to put your coat on, stand in the cold with 20 random strangers talking about pot noodles. So exchanging PSN tags with people that you don't want to exchange them with. Just out of
I
politeness.
don't do all that.
I don't play online.
That's what I tell my family.
You live online. That's what you tell your family. Anyway, Hockey Manager 2020. For those that were there yesterday evening, stroke this morning, the rest of the mere mortals on PC, January 31st. Enjoy the state of the art hockey management. Prove yourself as a manager and coach in the day-to-day business of ice hockey. Lead your favourite club to fame and fortune. That's all the dips in the boot. What did I pick, VHS?
I think you need to pick one. I'll let you pick one. This one.
What do I want it to be, though?
Coronation Street Omnibus.
What's an omnibus?
Omnibus.
What's that?
Omnibus.
That's the full word actually for a bus, isn't it? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I thought it meant many buses.
I like what you're doing there.
Oh, many buses.
Oh, many buses. What am I picking? Last week we had Howard's Way. Mumsy was very happy. Very, very happy. She spent last week massaging you in your undressed state because we recorded early in the morning. Luckily, by night time, you've managed to pull your Mario onesie back on.
I have.
It's been cleaned and pressed. I'll tell you what I'm going to pick, because we're recording this on a Friday night, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow with my Mummy VHS pick, Captain N and the Game Masters. Oh, yeah. Or the Game Master. Do you remember that cartoon?
It was probably in the level of like the Hulk Hogan cartoon, i.e. not very good.
Say sorry now. That needs a t-shirt. Say sorry now.
Okay.
Your Santa Mario onesie, Captain N, the Game Master, managed to bring in a guy. Started with live action. This guy was playing with his NES, and then he got sucked into the TV. Okay, and he was Captain N, the Game Master. He had a NES controller for a belt. He had the NES Zapper as a gun. This belt allowed him to pause time. so he could take advantage of mechanics in the game.
Defo should have been called Merch Man.
Merch Man. Yeah, but get this. He was up against Mother Brain from Metroid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The eggplant guy from Punch-Out.
Yeah.
And he had on his side Kid Icarus, Mega Man, and it was either Princess Peach or Zelda. Oh, something I should know about and speak about with knowledge. Yeah, it's on YouTube if you want to check it out. I'm going to get the video out.
Okay. Because
it's an old video as well, it's only got 2 randomly picked episodes, completely out of chronological order on the VHS. But, you know,
love it.
That's what we like, isn't it?
It is.
Memories of old. Those that have managed to wade through this swamp-like of a show, leech-ridden lower limbs, they've got flesh wounds all over them from the hellfire, the gunfire and bullets that rain down upon us. You just want me to get this ramble out the way so you can lay down on the futon and let Mumsy massage your shoulders while dipping pre-cut pieces of bread, toasted. Number 3 setting on the toaster, Mumsy. Carbon gives you cancer. And then loading them into your engorged Shakespearean mouth. If they've paid attention through
they've turned off by now.
All of
that.
No, they want to find out a little bit more about your dark and seedy underside. You being a thespian and all, you run a very ragged edge on what's actually acceptable. What are you hoping to play?
Not much this week. Not got much to finish off Zelda Link's Awakening. And I might dabble if the PlayStation Plus games are out. I fancy getting the BioShock collection.
Don't you have that? I thought you'd have that.
I don't have it, no. I've played all 3, but I wouldn't mind dabbling in those again.
What did you play all 3 on? Xbox 360?
Yes. Yeah, including Infinite. I forget that was a 360 game. It looks a bit better than that.
It's a good looking game.
Yeah, it is.
I only played that on when that collection came out originally.
Ah, right.
And the good thing about that collection, I don't know how it's
apparently they've upscaled 1 and 2, but Infinite is just the same.
Well, I think if you play that collection through, I would like your feedback, because I think it's aged. I think they've matured in a way that I find 2's the better game.
Most people always say 1 is the better.
Most people have only played 1.
Probably true. I think that intro one is awesome, though. It takes some beating.
It is.
You kind of know all the secrets a little bit of when you're in 2, don't you?
Yeah, but I think I just found 2, especially from game mechanics point of view. I just thought it was like
it works better, I suppose, playing as the Big Daddy sometimes.
Spoilers. Spoilers for Jesus' favourite game. Other religious leaders may apply.
What are you hoping to play?
What was the other PSN game?
Sims 4 and VR Firewall 0.
I'll get that. I'll play that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Freebie, isn't it?
I need a reason to dust off the VR headset.
Yeah.
What am I hoping to play?
Yes. Along with Firewall 0 Hour.
Yakuza 4.
Yep.
I didn't talk about that at the start. Cause I finished 3, I started 4. Possibly one of my new favourite characters, the boss of Sky Finance, perhaps, and the name, where they get the name Sky Finance from. If you know Yakuza lore, it's the finest.
You need to be banned from talking about Yakuza the same way I was banned from Overwatch.
Don't say its name. You're allowed to mention that game. Yeah. So there's that. What else? Kingdom Hearts 2. Want to get that done so I can start 3.
I'd be itching to play 3 because it's new and shiny.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with you. Because if you do that now, you'll not go back. I wouldn't go back to play 2. You see, you got to make yourself wait.
That's a good point.
Make yourself wait. The law's complicated.
I did enjoy that with when you recommended the Uncharted series, and I felt like when I got to 4, it was really good.
All the emotion paid off.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I bet that's cheap now. That little DLC add-on they did with the 2 girls.
Oh, the Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
It's recently been put on the Game Pass, like the PlayStation Game Pass.
Has it?
Yeah.
You could do with getting that.
I know.
A little bit.
And they've
like,
got PUBG on there, which I won't mind playing again.
what on the PlayStation one?
Yeah.
It's only about £14. Now
I think it's like 24.
Oof.
PUBG. Now it don't run like it's running on a Spectrum.
They want money for it.
Yeah, they want money for it now.
Now it don't play like a Stadia game. They
Yeah.
want money. What are you drawn there?
Our logo.
That's fantastic. Well, listeners, I guess that's all we got time for. Is that all you've got time for, Tom? Are you done?
It is. That's us. That's the turn of the wheel.
You'd think I'd know the outro by now, but I still don't.
It's all right. I think we can send him with the bridge, but he's reeled it out.
Just.
He's pulled up his sleeve. He's got the tattoo, just like me.
Well, James has not been able to do the hours in the podcast like he used to.
No.
Next week, we might be doing it from the courtroom, Tom.
Really?
Yeah, so might be the last show we ever do, and for that reason we've indulged ourselves very much. And that's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time. We look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, Tom.
See you, mate.